Howdy, folks. I'm Jovial Brystein,
I'm Amber.
and here's some more silly, spooky Reddit stories that are also very corny. None of that's horrifying today.
I wish we had a Jovial Bob sign episode.
Maybe someday we will. And I kind of let people, almost get people's hopes up that maybe it was going to be light and fun and everything. It's like, no, sorry, dashed your hopes. Our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Surrendering My Boyfriend's Cat to a Shelter? My ex had a cat when I moved in with him. He had never actually adopted it. It was stray that became his after he started feeding it. When his ex was living with him, it got pregnant with kittens and found homes for some, but others became strays. When I moved in with him, I told him that we should get the cat spayed and take it to the vet for some fleas. He agreed at first, but weeks went by and he still hadn't made an appointment. When I asked him if I should do it, he said that he was going to do it, and I waited a few more weeks. All this time, the fleas were getting worse, and I was stressing that it would get pregnant again because he was only working part-time and we were struggling financially. One day, after the flea bites kept me up all night, I took it to the vet. I had to pay for the new patient exam plus the medication. When I asked him at the very least to reimburse me for half of the cost, he became angry and frustrated. He said that we couldn't afford to pay for a vet and a prescription for flea meds. I tried the stuff from the store and it didn't work. When I explained to him that I needed him to chip in so that I could continue to buy groceries and pay for the bills, he yelled at me and said that he had been waiting until he had more money, though he never brought it up before. I felt terrible for making such a dumb mistake. I know that I should have checked with him first and made sure that he could chip in, but the fleas were driving me crazy, and the poor cat was scratching and chewing itself up all the time. After some time went by, the fleas subsided. I spent all of my free time vacuuming and deep cleaning the furniture and carpets. During all this time, I was the only one buying cat food and cleaning the litter. I would remind him and ask him to help, which sometimes he would, but he'd always go back to forgetting again. A few months later, we finally had some money to spare, so I said to him that we should have her spayed now. He became angry and eventually shared that he doesn't believe in having animals sterilized because it's their right to breed and have offspring, and he also wanted to put the money towards a PS5. This made me really angry because it had already had a litter of kittens, some of which never found homes. The next time the cat was running out of food, I reminded him for a week to buy more. I told him that I was tired of it being my sole responsibility all the time, because it's his cat, and I was also scared that it would get pregnant again and I would have a whole litter of kittens to take care of all by myself. I said that I was going to take it to the shelter if he didn't buy it food, and he said no and promised to buy food 3 days in a row. So when the cat ran out of food entirely, instead of buying more like I always do, I surrendered it to the shelter in hopes that it would be placed in a better home. It's a no-kill shelter, and they're very picky about who they let adopt. My boyfriend is heartbroken and furious at me that I rehomed his cat without his permission. We can't afford to adopt it back from the shelter, and I'm feeling like I made a huge mistake. Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. Generally, it's a bad idea to give away someone's pet without their consent, but this man was negligent. I mean, if you cannot properly treat your cat for fleas, if you can't be bothered to get them food, if you pass off all their responsibilities to your partner, he's just not a good pet owner.
Yeah, I do feel like this comes under the domain of animal cruelty and neglect, and I think that in cases of animal cruelty and neglect, you have a responsibility to make sure that the animal isn't neglected, and if you felt that you weren't going to be able to continue to take care of the cat, then you made the right decision, I think, to surrender the cat to the shelter because you can't have the cat starving, right? And I think that it would have been even more cruel to have the cat starving, and he clearly wasn't going to continue to buy cat food or take care of the cat's needs. So I do think that OP's in the right here. I feel bad for the poor cat
Mm-hmm.
because that cat is, flea ridden, and then also OP took her own time, money, and energy and tried getting the flea problem taken care of. It just sounds like this guy wanted someone who was just going to take care of all the stuff, right? Like, he wants to spend his money on fun things.
Well, that's what it sounds like. It doesn't sound like he's mature enough to have a pet. Like, if you can't afford proper care for your pet, and that would include flea treatment, if your pet is, like, itchy all the time, like, that's not a good situation, then it's best not to have a pet.
Yeah. So I do feel bad that he's upset and heartbroken, but also you gave him plenty of forewarning too. This was, from the comments that I read a little bit, it sounds like this was probably the nail in the coffin, so to speak, and OP and their boyfriend are no longer together. It did say that they're ex at the very beginning. This was not a good relationship for her to be in.
No, it's not. It sounds like she was taking on all the responsibilities. Like, she had to deep clean the house to get rid of the fleas, and he was just doing nothing and wanted to spend all his money on fun stuff.
Yeah, he was also working part-time. So, yeah, I feel like OP, this is a blessing in disguise. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Wanting to Pay for My Friend's Wedding After She Uninvited Me? I'm a 26-year-old female, and I've been friends with Sarah, a 28-year-old female, since high school. We've been through a lot together, and I've always considered her one of my closest friends. Last year, Sarah got engaged to her long-term boyfriend and started her wedding planning. She asked me to be her maid of honor, and I was thrilled about it. I helped her with everything from dress shopping to DIY decorations, and I was really looking forward to being part of her special day. But a few months ago, Sarah suddenly uninvited me from the wedding. She said that she and her fiancé have decided to have a smaller, more intimate wedding, and they had to cut down on the guest list. I was hurt and confused, but I tried to be understanding and didn't say anything. Well, last week, Sarah called me and asked me to contribute to her wedding fund. She said that because she had to cut down on the guest list, the per-person cost had gone up and they were struggling to pay for everything. She asked me if I could contribute $500 to help them out. I was taken aback by this. I had already spent a lot of money and time on Sarah's wedding, and now she was asking me to pay for something that I wasn't even going to be part of? I told her that I didn't feel comfortable with contributing and that I wished her the best of luck in her wedding. Sarah got really upset with me and accused me of being selfish and unsupportive. She said that I should be happy to help her out since we were such good friends, but I just couldn't shake the feeling that she had treated me unfairly by uninviting me from the wedding and then asking me to pay for it anyways. Now I'm wondering if I'm the jerk here. Should I have just given Sarah the money that she asked for, even though I wasn't going to go to the wedding? Or was it reasonable for me to decline and feel like I shouldn't have to pay for something that I wasn't going to be a part of anyways? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk, the audacity. And I have a theory here, OP.
Oh, I have a theory too, and we'll see if our theories match.
Notice that she used you for DIY help and everything before uninviting you, and then suddenly downsized the wedding. Like, maid of honor, like if you're downsizing your wedding, maid of honor is not usually one of those roles that you're going to cut because your maid of honor is someone you are very close with. So it seems to me like maybe Opie's a very crafty, hands-on person, and she wanted some free labor. Puts OP as a maid of honor, gets her to, spend her time, money, and energy, and then, oh, sorry, we have to cut down. Now, can I have $500?
So, OP, when you were friends with this person, did you ever have group projects in school and have to do all of the work for those group projects? Because I'm guessing that if that were the case, then the answer is yes. I'm guessing that your friend is using you. I think that this is a pretty clear-cut case of she saw an opportunity to get some work out of you, like what Amber said, and decided to take advantage of that. And she didn't want you at her wedding for whatever reason. Maybe she actually just looks down on you. And this is all very speculative, but it seems very, very odd that you wouldn't invite the maid of honor of all people.
Yeah, well, that does seem very odd. And again, I think she didn't have any intention of having you at the wedding at all. She just wanted to make you feel special so you'd go all in.
So, I don't know. I think this is a terrible situation if our theories do pan out to be right. And again, we don't have any evidence because we don't have the other side of the story here, but it does smack of that to me.
Mm-hmm.
So let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck, OP. Not the jerk, fake friend who uninvites their maid of honor.
Mm-hmm.
PN and Giggly Bean says, not the jerk. Sarah, I'm actually not unsupportive or selfish. I supported you by helping you with your dress and decorations and performing all of my maid of honor duties at my own expense. Then you uninvited me, showing that you didn't appreciate what I had done for you already. You haven't considered how your actions may be affecting everyone else. The only reason that you need more money is because you uninvited me and several other people, so your costs went up. Uninviting me and accusing me of not helping you when I have done so much for you already is really selfish, and I don't appreciate being treated that way by my good friend. I hope you enjoy the wedding and the consequences of your actions. Alright folks, our last letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Letting My Friend Drop Their Baby? Throwaway. Have very conflicted feelings about this situation. I'm a 29-year-old female, and I have a friend who's a 30-year-old female who recently had a kid. I'm happy for them, but she's kind of pushy about me having my own kids, to the point that I've repeatedly told her that kids aren't for me, but she just ignores it. I don't really have any strong feeling towards kids. I don't really think that they're all that cute. I can coexist with kids, but yeah, I shouldn't be a parent. The problem arises when my friend would bring her kid to our meetups. No issue with that in itself, but she has always tried to get me to hold the baby. I don't feel comfortable holding children in general. If it were an emergency, I would just get over it, but it feels like she's trying to trigger some kind of maternal instinct in me by making me hold her kid. I've tried to decline holding the kid, and she just kind of shoves him in my arms anyways. I really don't appreciate it. I got fed up with constantly having my boundaries crossed. We met up yesterday, and sure enough, she went to hand him to me again, and I said no, and I put my arms behind my back, and I clasped my wrists together. She made a face and shoved him into my chest and let go. I did attempt to catch, but I wasn't fast enough. I did try to at least lessen the fall with my legs, but he did fall and began to cry understandably. She blew up on me about how could I let her baby fall, and I told her that I didn't want him to fall, but said that she was the one who ultimately let go of him, even when my arms were behind my back. We argued for a moment before she left to tend to her kid. I got a bunch of angry texts from her later that I didn't respond to. On one hand, she shouldn't have been so pushy to have me hold the baby when I made it clear that I didn't want to, but at the same time, I feel bad for her son who got hurt, and maybe I could have done something different. I talked to other friends, some of also who are parents, and the consensus is mixed. Some say that it's not that big of a deal to hold a baby, and others say that she shouldn't have let him go. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. You set a very reasonable boundary. She has repeatedly violated it. Your hands were behind your back, and she decided to let drop the baby anyway, as if your reflexes are like super fast, superhero-like or something.
Well, and why couldn't she have caught the baby?
Mm-hmm.
Her arms were already closer to the baby than yours.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this is her trying to guilt you into something, and I don't know why she would be so bent on getting you to hold her child.
I mean, I think OP's probably right that she's just trying to make OP realize that her true calling is to be a mother. And like, not everyone wants to have kids. Not everyone needs to have kids. And your friend just needs to back off. She's not being a good friend right now. Like, if she keeps this up, you might even just want to not hang out with her for a while, because that is not how people treat their friends.
Well, and that's just it, is that she's over here treating OP like she's defective or broken, and that the only way to fix her is to have her hold the baby. And I think that that's just really not good. Like, it's a violation of OP's boundaries. It's treating OP like she doesn't know what she's talking about, her preferences aren't important. And I really think that this isn't a way that a good friend should act.
Yeah. Well, and it's also counter. Like, if the friend's motive is to try and get Opie to want to have kids, like forcing someone to hold kids that they don't want is not going to go over very well most of the time.
Yeah, and I mean, I could understand it too if your friend was struggling for a moment and said, hey, can you please hold the child for a second? I need to grab X, Y, or Z. That would be a little bit different of a situation. And if you were like, nah, put your kid in the street, I don't care. That might be a little bit of a different situation here, but it was clear that she was just trying to push this baby into your arms for the sake of it. And I don't know why she let go of the child, because this just doesn't even seem reasonable.
Well, I think she was like, Opie won't let the baby fall, not understanding how physics works, you know.
So I think it was a horribly negligent move on her part, and not OP's. So anyhow, take care and good luck, OP. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she doesn't have a jovial Bobstein joke, but she does have a silly joke for kids, which fortunately includes some people.
What did the guy say about his Velcro shoes?
Oh, I know exactly what the guy said about his Velcro shoes because I know this guy. This guy, he really loves Velcro shoes. He never learned how to tie his shoes. He always thought that this was like something for little kids. I don't know. Like, he always just he was like, Mom, I don't want to tie my shoes. That's for little kids. And he never tied his shoes. He always just wore Velcro. He said they were superb and he loves them and they're very comfortable and they fit his feet very well. And that's what he said about the Velcro shoes. And then he said that he's never going to tie his shoes ever again.
I think this is a different guy because this guy said, what a ripoff.
Oh, that doesn't sound like my friend at all. And I have licorice spice. You know what they say about assumptions? They make a Velcro shoe out of you and me. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday. We made it to the end of the week. Thank goodness it's Friday. And Amber, we need some kind of moral guidance. We need some kind of proverb or parable. Can you please provide that to us as though you are delivering a pizza?
I have here a pizza bill for $500. Oh, but you don't actually get the pizza, OP. You're not invited. I don't know. I was trying to
I thought you were going to go with a knock-knock type of scenario where because I made a horrible decision. But fortunately for both of us, yes, I did not order the $500 pizza, and no.
But you need to pay up anyway.
And no, you can't have my money. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.